Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, a prominent advocate of secular nationalism in the 20th century, and Hasan al-Banna, the renowned Islamic thinker and founder of the Muslim Brotherhood from the early 20th century. Today they come together in an imaginative simulation to engage in some of the most profound debates on the role of religion in the state. Our journey spans two iconic cities: Istanbul, at the Hagia Sophia, a hub where diverse philosophies and cultures thrived; Cairo, at Al-Azhar Mosque, a city where Islamic thought and scholarship flourished for centuries. In these dialogues, Atatürk and al-Banna will clash over three fundamental questions: the role of religion in governance, the boundaries of cultural identity, and the path to modernization. Mustafa Kemal Atatürk's vision for a secular state, as articulated in his work Nutuk, sharply contrasts with Hasan al-Banna's advocacy for an Islamic framework in Towards the Light, inviting us to explore a timeless debate that transcends generations. The debate on the role of religion in the state.
Salamun alaikum, Hasan Effendi. It's an honor to engage in this discussion. I firmly believe that the foundation of a progressive society lies in separating religion from the affairs of the state. Only through a secular framework can governance remain impartial and truly serve the well-being of all citizens, regardless of their faith.
Wa alaikum assalam, Mustafa Effendi. With all due respect, I must disagree. Religion is not merely a private matter. It's a comprehensive system that encompasses all aspects of life, including governance. Islam, for example, has historically guided societies toward prosperity, justice, and moral development. Look at the golden age of the Abbasid Caliphate. Science, philosophy, and social progress thrived under Islamic governance.
Hasan Effendi, I acknowledge the accomplishments of past Islamic societies, but we must not confuse correlation with causation. The advancements during that period were driven by individuals who embraced reason, inquiry, and free thought, traits that are hindered when religion is imposed upon the state. My aim is to liberate the people from dogma, allowing them to think, question, and innovate freely without the constraints of religious authority.
On the contrary, Mustafa Effendi, those very individuals you speak of, such as Ibn Sina and al-Farabi, were devout Muslims who found no conflict between faith and reason. Their scientific contributions and advancements were guided by Islamic principles that encouraged seeking knowledge. By excluding religion from governance, we risk losing the moral and spiritual foundation that fosters both individual and societal growth. Islam's system of justice and governance has proven time and again to be beneficial for humanity.
While it's true that many scholars of the Islamic Golden Age were believers, their breakthroughs occurred not because of religious governance, but in spite of it. History shows us that when religion dominates the state, it often results in oppression and intellectual stagnation. My vision for a modern nation is one where laws are based on reason, fairness, and equality, where every citizen, regardless of belief, is free to pursue progress without the constraints of religious orthodoxy.
But Mustafa Effendi, can reason alone truly sustain a just and ethical society? Without a higher moral framework provided by religion, societies can easily fall into moral relativism, where the lines between right and wrong are blurred. Islam offers a clear and comprehensive guide for governance that ensures justice, compassion, and the welfare of all. Removing that from the public sphere risks leaving society adrift without a moral compass.
I believe that justice should stem from universal principles, not from adherence to a particular religious doctrine. The laws of the state must apply equally to all, without privileging one faith over another. Secularism allows for the freedom of belief while preventing the imposition of any particular religious system on the people. It creates a space where all individuals, Muslim, Christian, atheist, can coexist without fear of discrimination.
And yet, Mustafa Effendi, by removing religion from governance, we risk alienating the very people whose values are rooted in faith. Islam is not a burden. It is the foundation of our communal and moral strength. It guided societies like Andalusia and the Abbasid Caliphate to unprecedented levels of achievement and unity. Faith should not be seen as an obstacle to progress, but rather as a vital component of it.
The world has changed, Hasan Effendi. We live in an era of science, reason, and technological advancement. The model of governance you describe may have worked in the past, but today, it risks holding us back. We must honor our heritage by building a nation that is modern, strong, and independent, one that thrives on the principles of equality and freedom. Religion can guide individuals, but the state must remain neutral to ensure liberty for all.
The world has changed, but the essence of human values remains the same. We may not see eye to eye, Mustafa Effendi, but perhaps this discussion is just the beginning. There are still many questions left unanswered. How do we ensure justice for all without imposing on people's beliefs? How do we build a society that embraces progress while respecting the traditions that define us? These are not easy questions, and maybe neither of us has all the answers. But it is through continuing this dialogue, challenging each other, and learning from our differences that we might find a path forward that honors both our heritage and our future.
The debate on the cultural identity and modern values.
Let us expand on this discussion, Hasan Bey. The role of education is not just about imparting knowledge, but shaping the future of a nation. In a globalized world, we must prepare our youth to compete internationally, not just to preserve our traditions. Secularism in education is crucial because it provides an unbiased, objective framework that allows students to explore all fields of knowledge without the constraints of religious doctrine. By separating religion from education, we can encourage a broader perspective, where science and rational thought take precedence. This is not to deny the importance of personal beliefs, but those beliefs should remain in the personal sphere, not dictated by state institutions. If we are to advance as a modern nation, our education system must be free to foster innovation and creativity, not bound by the traditions of the past.
While I respect your desire for progress, Mustafa Bey, I cannot agree that secularism is the key to success. Education is not merely about teaching facts and figures, it is about cultivating the human soul and guiding individuals toward a life of purpose and morality. When we look back at the great civilizations of the past, we see that they excelled not only in science and philosophy, but also in their deep connection to spiritual and ethical values. Islam, as a comprehensive way of life, offers guidance in all fields, including education. By incorporating Islamic principles, we can create individuals who are not only knowledgeable, but also compassionate, ethical, and responsible. A purely secular education may produce brilliant minds, but without a moral compass, those minds can be led astray. I fear that in the rush to modernize, we are forgetting the very values that have sustained our society for centuries.
I understand your point about ethics and morality, but we must consider the role of religion in a pluralistic society. The danger of intertwining education with religion is that it may privilege one set of beliefs over others, leading to exclusion and discrimination. Secular education creates a neutral ground, where students from all backgrounds, Muslim, Christian, Jewish, or atheist, can learn without bias. It promotes equality and ensures that no child feels alienated because of their religious background. Moreover, morality is not the sole domain of religion. Secular philosophies, such as humanism, have shown that ethical behavior can be cultivated through rational thought and empathy. We must teach our youth to think critically, challenge established norms, and contribute to a progressive and inclusive society.
I see your concerns about pluralism, and I agree that inclusion is important. However, I believe you underestimate the role of Islam in promoting unity and justice. The teachings of Islam are not exclusionary. They offer principles that transcend religious boundaries: compassion, fairness, solidarity, values that all human beings can embrace. A purely secular system, in my view, risks creating a generation disconnected from their roots, unsure of their identity in a rapidly changing world. We do not need to abandon modern education, but we must integrate it with the spiritual and moral teachings that have shaped our civilization. By doing so, we nurture both the mind and the soul, creating individuals who are equipped not only to succeed in the world, but also to contribute positively to the moral fabric of society.
While I appreciate the value you place on spiritual guidance, my vision for education is rooted in preparing individuals for the realities of a globalized, modern world. Our nation cannot thrive by looking backward, clinging solely to tradition. We must adopt a forward-thinking approach that embraces scientific inquiry, technological advancement, and progressive values. Identity, in my view, should be dynamic, based on universal human values like freedom, equality, and justice. These values transcend any single religion or culture and are the foundation of a truly modern society. We should empower our youth to question, to explore, and to innovate, rather than confining them within the boundaries of a religious framework that may limit their potential. Our future depends on adaptability and the courage to redefine ourselves in light of new challenges.
I respect your vision of progress, but we must not lose sight of the fact that true progress is a balance of both material and spiritual development. A purely secular education may produce individuals who are intellectually strong, but without spiritual guidance, they may lack the wisdom to use that knowledge responsibly. Islam provides a moral foundation that not only inspires individual integrity, but also fosters a sense of collective responsibility. By teaching our youth both modern science and our rich spiritual heritage, we can build a society that is not only advanced, but also deeply rooted in ethical values. This is the kind of progress I envision, a harmonious balance between mind and spirit, where we do not have to sacrifice one for the sake of the other.
Nationalism versus Pan-Islamism.
Hasan Bey, I believe the foundation of progress lies in the creation of a strong national identity. Nationalism is not just a matter of cultural pride. It is about creating a cohesive society where all citizens share a common goal. In Turkey, we adopted a nationalist approach to modernize, to break free from the constraints of empire, and to build a secular, independent state that could stand on its own. This required a focus on Turkish identity, creating a sense of unity among people with different backgrounds. Nationalism allows a nation to thrive because it fosters loyalty and responsibility towards one's country. Pan-Islamism, on the other hand, may weaken this bond as it encourages allegiance to a broader, more abstract community. In a modern world where nation-states are the primary actors, nationalism remains the most practical way to ensure progress and stability.
I understand your focus on national identity, Mustafa Bey, but I believe that nationalism, especially in the Muslim world, has done more harm than good. It has divided Muslims into separate entities, creating artificial borders where there once was unity. Islam teaches us that we are part of one ummah, transcending national borders. Pan-Islamism is not just a romantic notion, it is a practical solution to the fragmentation that has weakened us. By focusing solely on the nation-state, we allow external powers to exploit our divisions, as they did during the colonial era. A unified Muslim world, guided by the principles of Islam, would be far stronger and more capable of addressing the challenges we face. This unity does not negate the need for governance or local leadership, but it reminds us that our ultimate allegiance is to our shared faith and values, which provide a foundation for cooperation and strength.
While I respect your desire for unity, I believe that the realities of the modern world require a more practical approach. The concept of an ummah may have been relevant in the past, but today, each nation faces unique challenges that require specific solutions. Nationalism gives people a sense of belonging, loyalty, and accountability to their own country. In Turkey, nationalism has allowed us to focus on our own development, to modernize our institutions, and to build a secular state that can compete on the global stage. We cannot afford to dilute this sense of responsibility by focusing on a broad, undefined idea of Muslim unity. Each nation must take charge of its own destiny, build its own institutions, and develop its own path to progress. Solidarity among Muslims is important, but it cannot replace the need for each nation to be self-sufficient and resilient.
Mustafa Bey, I acknowledge the importance of addressing local challenges, but I believe you underestimate the potential power of a united ummah. Pan-Islamism is not about erasing national identities, but about creating a broader framework for cooperation and solidarity among Muslim nations. By pooling our resources, sharing knowledge, and supporting each other, we can strengthen our position globally. Nationalism, while it may provide short-term unity, ultimately divides us. The colonial powers used nationalism to fragment the Muslim world, weakening us in the process. Islam offers a set of values and principles that are not confined to one nation. They are universal and provide a foundation for justice, cooperation, and shared progress. If we embrace Pan-Islamism, we can stand stronger together, facing global challenges as a unified community, while still respecting the governance structures of individual nations. Our faith unites us in a way that nationalism cannot, and it is this unity that will allow us to overcome the challenges of the modern world.
As our journey across Istanbul, Cairo, comes to a close, we reflect on the powerful exchange between two influential figures whose visions for society could not be more different. Mustafa Kemal Atatürk's unwavering commitment to secular nationalism and Hasan al-Banna's dedication to an Islamic framework represent two distinct paths towards shaping the future of a community. Their debates highlight the tension between modernity and tradition, individuality and collective identity, and secularism and religious guidance. Thank you for joining us on this intellectual journey. We would love to hear your thoughts. Who do you think was right, looking from today's perspective? Let us know in the comments below. We look forward to having you with us on our next journey at Attic, where history and ideas meet.